flying over the palings. He thought to himself, they were afraid of me because I'm ugly. Closed his eyes and flew as far as he could until he come upon a large moor where the wild ducks were there. So he remained there all night, feeling very tired and sorrowful, very sad to himself. We will take a short commercial break and learn more about the story.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Learning and good nutrition does not end when school lets out. The USDA's Summer Food Service Program helps provide nutritious meals to children in low-income areas so they're better fueled with healthy food to learn and grow. To learn more about sponsoring a feeding site in your community, go to www.summerfood.usda.gov.
Welcome back, listeners, to our program in progress. We are at our Books-n-Ballyhoo children's program on Storytellers-Campfire. When we left, the duckling has ran away. He's been being bullied, so he doesn't want to be there anymore, and he left his family. He comes to and more, and he spends the night there. So in the morning, the wild ducks rise in the air, and they stare at the duckling and says, "What sort of duck are you?" They're hovering around him, coming to meet him, and he bowed to them and was polite as he could be, but he did not answer their question. One of the wild ducks seems to think that he's exceedingly ugly, but it won't make much difference if you don't want to marry one of our family, he says. Poor duckling, as if he had thoughts of marriage. All he wanted to do was have permission to lie among the rushes and drink some water on the moor. After he'd been on the moor 2 days, there come some wild geese, or rather goslings, as they hadn't been out of their eggs very long. So the duckling says, "Listen, friend, you are so ugly, we like you very well. Would you go with us and become a bird of passage? Not far from here is another moor, and there are some pretty wild geese, and they're all unmarried. It's a chance for you to get a wife. As ugly as you are, you might get lucky." Pop, pop. There's a sound in the air, and the 2 geese fell dead among the rushes, and the water is tinged with blood. Pop, pop, far and wide in the distance, and the whole flock of wild geese rose up in the rushes. The sound continued from every direction. Their huntsmen surrounded the moors, some of them even in the branches of the trees overlooking the rushes. And as they let their guns off, the blue smoke rose in the clouds over the dark trees, and it floated away across the water. A number of their sporting dogs, or the hunting dogs, would go in among the rushes and get the dead geese and pull them out. That's their job. How terrified the ugly duckling was. He turned his head and he put it under his wing so that he wouldn't be seen. At the same moment, a large, terrible dog came quite near him. His jaws were open, his tongue's hanging out of his mouth, and his eyes are glaring fearfully. And he's nosing around where the duck is, showing his sharp teeth. Then he splashed into the water without ever touching him. The dogs, he thought to himself, "I am so ugly. Thankfully, even a dog won't bite me." So he lay really still while the shots go through the rushes and the trees, and birds falling out of the sky, and gun after gun was fired over him. was quite late in the day when it all became quiet. And even then, the young duckling did not dare move. He waited quietly for several hours. After looking around him, he took off from the moor as fast as he could. He ran over the field and the meadow, and he hit a storm while he was running. He could hardly struggle against it. Towards the evening, he reached a little cottage. That it was standing kind of strange, oddly at an angle, seeming ready to fall, only couldn't decide which way it was going to fall on. The storm was so violent, with the wind going 90 miles an hour, the duckling could get no farther. So he sits down beside the cottage, and he notices the door wasn't quite closed because one of the hinges had given way. So there's a narrow opening at the bottom, just large enough for him to slip through, which he did very quietly, and he had shelter for the night. Now, in this odd little cottage lives a woman, her tomcat, and her hen. Now, the tomcat, the woman calls him my little son, and he is her favorite because he can raise his back and purr, and when she strokes his fur the wrong way, sparks fly out of his fur. Electricity. The hen, she was called Chicky Shortlegs because she had very short legs, but she laid very good eggs, and her mistress loved her if she was her own child. So in the morning, the duckling, a strange visitor, was discovered, and the cat began to purr and the hen began to cluck. So that was noisy. The old woman asked, "What is all that noise about?" She's looking about her little room, but because she's old, her sight's not very good. So she saw the duckling and thought it must be a fat duck that got lost from its home. She says, "What a prize, not a drake, for then I shall have some duck eggs. I must wait and see." So the woman allowed the duck to remain on a trial basis for 3 weeks. But, of course, there was no eggs. Being the master of the house, the tomcat, and the hen was the mistress, and they thought themselves we in the world, and they thought themselves were the better half of the world, too. The duckling had his own beliefs on that, different opinion on the subject, but the hen would not listen to such doubts. She asked the duckling, "Can you lay eggs?" He says, "No." "Then have the goodness to hold your tongue." Tomcat asked him, "Can you raise your back or purr or throw out sparks?" Duckling says, "No." "Then you have no right to express an opinion when sensible people are speaking." So the poor ugly duckling sits in a corner, feeling very low in spirit, till the sunshine and fresh air keeps wafting into the room through the open door. And he begins to feel a great longing to swim on the water, so much so that he couldn't help but tell the hen. The hen thinks that's such an absurd idea. You have nothing else to do, therefore you have foolish fancies. If you could purr like the cat or lay eggs like me, those fancies would pass away. But the duckling insists. "It is so delightful to swim about on the water. My legs just churning under it, floating around. It's refreshing to feel it go over your head while you dive to the bottom." "Delightful indeed," the hen says. You must be crazy. Ask the cat. He's the cleverest animal I know. Ask him how he would like to swim about on the water or dive under it. For I will only speak of my own opinion. Ask our mistress, the old woman. There is no one in the world more clever than she is. Do you think she would like to swim or let water close over her head?" The duckling says, "You do not understand me." "We don't understand you? Who can understand you, I wonder? Do you consider yourself more clever than the cat or the old woman?" "I will say nothing of myself." "Don't imagine such nonsense, child. Thank your good fortune that you have been received here. Are you not in a warm room? In a society you may learn something. But you are a chatter and you talk too much, and your company is not very agreeable. Speak only for your own good. I may tell you unpleasant truth, but that is proof of my friendship. Therefore, I advise you to lay eggs and learn how to purr quickly as possible." "I believe I must go out into the world again," the duckling says. The hen says, "Yes, do." So off he goes. He leaves the cottage and finds water where he could swim and dive. But it was avoided by all the other animals because of its ugly appearance. So he remained by himself for a while, because then it was summer and now autumn has come, and all the leaves in the forest are turning all them beautiful colors, the orange and gold and browns. And winter approaches, and the wind caught them as they fell and swirled them into the cold air. The clouds are heavy, they're white and dark, hail and snowflakes are in them, and they hung very low in the sky. It made him shiver to look at the clouds. It was all very sad for this poor little duckling. One evening, just as the sun was about to set, amidst a beautiful sunset in the clouds, there came a large flock of beautiful birds out of the bushes. The ugly duckling had never seen anything quite like them before. They were swans, and their graceful necks just curved, and their soft feathers and plumage was dazzling white. They spread their glorious wings and flew away from the cold regions to warmer countries across the sea. And as they went higher and higher in the air, the ugly duckling felt quite a strange sensation as he watched them. He whirled himself in the water like a wheel, stretching his neck out towards the sky towards them, and uttered a cry so strange it frightened himself. Ever forget those beautiful, happy birds? He watched them till they were out of sight. He dived under the water and rose again, himself beside with that excitement. He didn't know their names or where they had flown, but he felt towards them as he never felt for any other bird in the world. He wasn't envious of these beautiful creatures, but wished to be as lovely as they were. Poor ugly creature, he would have given what he would have given to live with even with the ducks, had they only given him some encouragement. Now we're going to take a short commercial break.
Millions of young people will enter the workforce this summer, many for the first time. Join OSHA and construction professionals nationwide to help build a safe work foundation. OSHA's Teen Summer Job Safety Campaign helps teens learn good safety habits at the beginning of their careers and stay safe and healthy on the job. For more information, visit OSHA.gov or call 800-321-OSHA.
A message from the U.S. Department of Labor.
Hey, it's Niecy Nash, taking a break from my new TV Land sitcom, The Soul Man, to talk to all you moms out there. My character, Lolly, is a mom, too, and she's pretty fierce when it comes to protecting her family. But all moms need to remember to take care of themselves, too, especially when it comes to heart disease. It's the #1 killer of women, but you can reduce your risk through healthy diet and exercise. So spread the word and take care of yourself. Find out more at GoRedForWomen.org.
Welcome back. This is Charlie Checkers, the Storytellers-Campfire, our Book-n-ballyhoo children's program, and our feature presentation, as we are in progress with, is The Ugly Duckling. Now, when we left, he had just met the swans, and he is not envious of these creatures, but he wants to be like them. And he would have gladly lived with his own family had they just given him a little encouragement. And now, since it's autumn and it's growing colder, the winter has come, and he is obliged to swim about on the water to keep it moving from freezing. But every night, as he swims around, the space on which he swims becomes smaller and smaller because it's freezing. So Eventually, it froze so hard that the ice in the water crackled as he moved. So he's paddling around with his